Prayer is power. When you pray, then you are in touch with your higher consciousness. Pray. Pray. Prayer is power. Pray. 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 Prayer is power. Prayer is power. What are you going to do? Pray. 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 When you pray, then you are in touch with your higher consciousness. Pray. 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 Prayer is power. Prayer is power. Pray. Prayer is power. When you pray, then you are in touch with your higher consciousness. Pray. Pray. Prayer is power. Prayer is power. Prayer is power. Pray. Pray. Prayer is power. Prayer is power. Prayer is power. What are you going to do? Pray. Pray. Pray.
Welcome, everyone, to Dr. Pillai's Religion of Religions YouTube channel. Today, we are doing a planetary puja using the chart of now. This is an in-depth puja in which we're going to honor the planets, the stars therein, the archetypes that rule those stars, the planets that rule those stars, as well as the planets that rule the signs that various planets are in today. My name is Swamini Valli. I am a Pillai Center teacher and an AstroVed astrologer, and I'm very happy to be hosting this puja Monday through Friday at the request of Pillai Center. Dr. Pillai has said that the planets and the stars are more than just objects in outer space. There is a divine light being associated with all of them. And as we perform this puja, we are invoking their blessings to be received into us and into our world. And it's a lovely thing to be doing this together as a group, as there is a special consciousness or power in group prayer as well. So I have on a side table, I have the chart of now drawn in chalk on a little chalkboard. And as we go along in the puja, I'll be putting flower petals on top of different planets and offering, later I'll offer light. In the beginning, I'll offer a little bit of water. I'll offer the element of air with the hand fan. And I'll also ring a bell for the element of sound. This is an in-depth puja that Dr. Pillai taught to myself and Raja, Meena Malloy's brother, many years ago. He was inspired by a puja that he had seen the Ashtamangala astrologers from the state of Kerala in India perform. And he gave us a modified version of that. So at home, you're welcome to either draw the chart and offer your own flower petals. You're welcome to just listen to it. You're welcome to just have a bowl and offer your flower petals into a saucer or bowl without drawing the chart. However you wish to participate is totally fine. If you want to be listening to it and doing something mundane like folding the laundry or something, that's also beneficial. Dr. Pillai has said that even just listening to the names of these divine beings, each of their names has a kind of consciousness or power in it, because all of their names are a quantum sound or a mantra in and of themselves. So even listening to the sounds helps to bring in a beautiful vibration into all of us. So we begin. First, I'm going to take my little container of water and dip the ring finger of my right hand into it and sprinkle a few drops of water on each side of the little blackboard, purifying the space. I put a few drops of water on top of my own head, purifying myself. And I send a few drops of water out into space towards all of you, whether you're watching it live or watching it later on a replay, so that all of us are participating in the puja from a purified space, a sacred ground, if you will. Next, we start with honoring Ganesha, the archetype who removes obstacles. And Ganesha is also a patron archetype of astrology himself. We'll invoke him with the mantra Om Sring Gung, Sring-Gung. Om Sring Gung. Om Sring Gung. Om Sring Gung. We ask Ganesha to come and to remove all obstacles from this puja and to remove obstacles from the lives of all the people who are participating in it. Now we do a short Tamil chant asking all of the planets to be beneficial towards us. Asura Nalla Nalla, Ave Nalla Nalla, Atiyar Avar Kumikave, Asura Nalla Nalla, Ave Nalla Nalla, Atiyar Avar Kumikave, Asura Nalla Nalla, Ave Nalla Nalla, Atiyar Avar Kumikave. We ask all of the planets to be beneficial today towards us and towards our world. We thank Saint Yanis Samundar for teaching this chant, and we are grateful to Dr. Pillai for sharing it with us. Now, we're going to honor some of the time elements that are active at the moment in my local area, which is here in Florida. Right now, we're going to honor the planet that rules the day, the star that the moon is in, or the nakshatra, the tithi, or the moon phase, the planet that rules the hour, and the yoga and the karana of the moment. Right now, the day is Monday, which is ruled by the moon. We honor the moon, and I put flower petals on top of him. Om Chandrahaya Namaha. Om Chandrahaya Namaha. Om Chandrahaya Namaha. Next, we honor the star that the moon is in. The moment the moon is in a star called Uttara Bhadrapada, Dr. Pillai says this star can be very helpful for business development. We honor this star, and I put the flower petals on the moon. Om Uttara Bhadrapadaye Namaha. Om Uttara Bhadrapadaye Namaha. Om Uttara Bhadrapadaye Namaha. Next, we honor the tithi, or the moon phase. The moment we are in the fourth waning moon phase, called Chaturthi in Sanskrit. Dr. Pillai said we would use the Sanskrit name of the moon phase, followed by the word Devi, invoking the light being associated with this moon phase. This is a moon phase especially associated with Ganesha. We invoke this moon phase, and I put the flower petals on top of the moon. Om Chaturthi Devye Namaha. Om Chaturthi Devye Namaha. Om Chaturthi Devye Namaha. Now we honor the planet that rules the hour. The moment we are in an hour here that's ruled by Mars. We honor Mars, and I put flower petals on him. Om Mangalaya Namaha. Om Mangalaya Namaha. Om Mangalaya Namaha. For the yoga and the karana, Dr. Pillai said we would not offer flower petals. We would just say their names 3 times each. The yoga that's active right now is one called Driti, which has energies of enjoyment. Driti, Driti, Driti. And the karana that is active right now is one called Balava, which has energies that are spiritual. Balava, Balava, Balava. Now we turn our attention to the chart of the moment. We're using the South Indian style chart. There is a link to a tutorial video below the YouTube video if you are unfamiliar with the South Indian style chart and want to learn more about it. We're starting with the zodiac sign here in Virgo. This is the sign coming up on the eastern horizon at the moment in my area. Dr. Pillai said we would always start with the ascendant sign with the planet that rules it. Virgo is ruled by Mercury, so we're going to honor Mercury, and I will put the flower petals on top of him. Om Buddhaya Namaha. Om Buddhaya Namaha. Om Buddhaya Namaha. Then from the ascendant sign, we go in a clockwise direction around the chart to the first sign that has a planet in it. This is Tula or Libra, which has Ketu. We're going to honor Ketu, and I'll put the flower petals on him. Om Ketave Namaha. Om Ketave Namaha. Om Ketave Namaha. Ketu right now is in a star called Vishaka. This is a star that can give energies for victory, success, triumph. We ask for blessings from this star, and I put the flower petals on top of Ketu. Om Vishakaye Namaha. Om Vishakaye Namaha. Om Vishakaye Namaha. Vishaka star is ruled by a pair of archetypes, Indra and Agni. Indra can give blessings for leadership and courage, and Agni can give blessings for transformation and purification. We honor both of them, and I put the flower petals on Ketu. Om Indra Agniye Namaha. Om Indra Agniye Namaha. Om Indra Agniye Namaha. Vishaka star is ruled by the planet Jupiter. We honor Jupiter, and I put the flower petals on him. Om Gurave Namaha. Om Gurave Namaha. Om Gurave Namaha. Now we honor the planet that rules Libra, which is Venus. I put the flower petals on Venus. Om Shukraya Namaha. Om Shukraya Namaha. Om Shukraya Namaha. We pause for a moment and reflect on Tula or Libra, a zodiac sign with energies of balance and harmony, today containing Ketu, sometimes called the saintly planet. We pause for a moment and reflect on this. Going in a clockwise direction, the next Rasi or sign with the planet in it is Makara or Capricorn, which today contains Pluto retrograde and Saturn retrograde. When planets are retrograde, they are extra powerful. We're including the three outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, because this year Dr. Pillai commissioned statues for all three of those planets and had them energized in fire labs and had them put into his temple in the Chennai area in India. So I found out what were the mantras that they used for energizing those statues, and we are using those mantras in our puja. We start with Pluto, and the mantra that we're using is Om Krum Kruntankaya Namaha. I put the flower petals on Pluto. Om Krum Kruntankaya Namaha. Om Krum Kruntankaya Namaha. Om Krum Kruntankaya Namaha. Pluto is in a star called Uttarashada. This is a star of success, and it can give success that is long-lasting. We ask for blessings from this star, and I put the flower petals on Pluto. Om Uttarashadaye Namaha. Om Uttarashadaye Namaha. Om Uttarashadaye Namaha. Uttarashada's star is ruled by the 10 Visvadevas, archetypes who each embody a unique, divine, universal principle. We ask for their blessings, and I put the flower petals on Pluto. Om Visvadevasye Namaha. Om Visvadevasye Namaha. Om Visvadevasye Namaha. Uttarashada's star is ruled by the sun. We honor the sun, and I put flower petals on him. Om Suryaya Namaha. Om Suryaya Namaha. Om Suryaya Namaha. Now we're going to honor Saturn for being in Capricorn. I put the flower petals on Saturn. Om Sanisharaya Namaha. Om Sanisharaya Namaha. Om Sanisharaya Namaha. Saturn is in a star called Dhanishta. This is a star that can give wealth, music, good reputation. We honor this star, and I put the flower petals on Saturn. Om Dhanishtaye Namaha. Om Dhanishtaye Namaha. Om Dhanishtaye Namaha. Dhanishta's star is ruled by the 8 Vasus, light beings who each rule different spheres of existence. We honor them, and I put the flower petals on Saturn. Om Vasusye Namaha. Om Vasusye Namaha. Om Vasusye Namaha. Dhanishta's star is ruled by Mars. We honor Mars, and I put the flower petals on him. Om Mangalaya Namaha. Om Mangalaya Namaha. Om Mangalaya Namaha. Now we honor the planet that rules Capricorn, which is Saturn. Again, we honor Saturn, and I put more flower petals on him. Om Sanisharaya Namaha. Om Sanisharaya Namaha. Om Sanisharaya Namaha. We pause for a moment and reflect on Makara or Capricorn, a sign that can activate ancient past life skills and abilities, today containing Pluto, a planet that can help us with rationality and science, and Saturn, a planet that helps with patience, discipline, organization, structure, compassion. We pause for a moment and reflect on this. The next Rasi or sign with the planet in it is Meena or Pisces, which today contains Neptune retrograde, Jupiter retrograde, and the moon. We start with honoring Neptune, and the mantra we will use for him is Om Vam Varunaye Namaha. I put the flower petals on Neptune. Om Vam Varunaye Namaha. Om Vam Varunaye Namaha. Om Vam Varunaye Namaha. Neptune is in a star called Purva Bhadrapada, a star with the fire of Kundalini energy, and a star that helps with purification. We honor this star, and I put the flower petals on Neptune. Om Purva Bhadrapadaye Namaha. Om Purva Bhadrapadaye Namaha. Om Purva Bhadrapadaye Namaha. Purva Bhadrapada's star is ruled by Aja Ekapada, an archetype who can help us experience deeper levels of silence as well as forgiveness. We honor this archetype, and I put the flower petals on top of Neptune. Om Aja Ekapadaye Namaha. Om Aja Ekapadaye Namaha. Om Aja Ekapadaye Namaha. Now we're going to honor Jupiter and the moon before we invoke the star, as they are both in the same star today. We start with honoring Jupiter. I put the flower petals on him. Om Gurave Namaha. Om Gurave Namaha. Om Gurave Namaha. Now we honor the moon for being in Pisces. Om Chandraya Namaha. Om Chandraya Namaha. Om Chandraya Namaha. Jupiter and the moon are both in the star Uttara Bhadrapada, which, as I said before, Dr. Pillai says this is a star that can help us with business development. We honor this star, and I put the flower petals across Jupiter and the moon. Om Uttara Bhadrapadaye Namaha. Om Uttara Bhadrapadaye Namaha. Om Uttara Bhadrapadaye Namaha. Uttara Bhadrapada is ruled by an archetype called Arbundia. Among other things, he can help to guard treasures, precious things. We ask for his blessings, and I put the flower petals across Jupiter and the moon. Om Arbundiaye Namaha. Om Arbundiaye Namaha. Om Arbundiaye Namaha. Uttara Bhadrapada star is ruled by Saturn. We honor Saturn, and I put the flower petals on him. Om Sanisharaya Namaha. Om Sanisharaya Namaha. Om Sanisharaya Namaha. Now we honor the planet that rules Pisces, which is Jupiter. Again, we honor Jupiter, and I put more flower petals on him. Om Gurave Namaha. Om Gurave Namaha. Om Gurave Namaha. We pause for a moment and reflect on Meena, or Pisces, the zodiac sign that is the most transcendental, the most metaphysical, today containing Neptune, a planet that can help with our intuition and our ability to understand our own inner life. Jupiter, planet that helps with spiritual teachings, our connection to spiritual teachers and our spiritual community, and the moon, which is our mind and our emotions. We pause for a moment and reflect on this. The next Rasier sign with the planet in it is Misha, or Aries, which today contains Rahu and Uranus. We start with honoring Rahu, and then we'll do Uranus. They're both in the same star, so we'll honor both the planets before we invoke the star. I put the flower petals on Rahu. Om Rahave Namaha. Om Rahave Namaha. Om Rahave Namaha. Now we honor Uranus. I put the flower petals on him. For Uranus, we use the mantra Om Hram Prajapataye Namaha. Om Hram Prajapataye Namaha. Om Hram Prajapataye Namaha. Om Hram Prajapataye Namaha. Rahu and Uranus are both in a star called Bharani. This is a star represented as the female private parts, the yoni. And this is a star with a tremendous amount of divine feminine energy, power, Shakti. We honor this star, and I put the flower petals across Rahu and Uranus. Om Bharaniye Namaha. Om Bharaniye Namaha. Om Barnihe Namaha. Barney star is ruled by Yama. Among other things, he is an archetype of justice. We honor him, and I put the flower petals across Rahu and Uranus. Om Yamahe Namaha. Om Yamahe Namaha. Om Yamahe Namaha. Barney star is ruled by Venus. I put the flower petals on top of Venus. Om Shukraya Namaha. Om Shukraya Namaha. Om Shukraya Namaha. Now we honor the planet that rules Aries, which is Mars. I put the flower petals on Mars. Om Mangalaya Namaha. Om Mangalaya Namaha. Om Mangalaya Namaha. We pause for a moment and reflect on Misha or Aries, a fire sign with very active energies, today containing Rahu, planet that helps us to think outside the box, and planet that helps us to make friends with new technologies. And Uranus, a planet of high intelligence and innovation, and also a planet that helps with astrology. We pause for a moment and reflect on this. The next Rasi or sign with the planet in it is Vrishabha or Taurus, which today contains Mars. We honor Mars, and I put the flower petals on top of him. Om Mangalaya Namaha. Om Mangalaya Namaha. Om Mangalaya Namaha. Mars is in a star called Kritika. This is a star of truth. It's symbolized with a cutter or a razor. So it's truth that cuts through illusion. We honor this star, and I put the flower petals on Kritika. Excuse me, I put the flower petals on top of Mars. Om Kritikaye Namaha. Om Kritikaye Namaha. Om Kritikaye Namaha. Kritika star is ruled by Agni, the archetype of fire. We honor him, and I put the flower petals on top of Mars. Om Agniye Namaha. Om Agniye Namaha. Om Agniye Namaha. Kritika star is ruled by the sun. We honor the sun, and I put the flower petals on him. Om Suryaya Namaha. Om Suryaya Namaha. Om Suryaya Namaha. Now we honor the planet that rules Taurus, which is Venus. I put the flower petals on Venus. Om Shukraya Namaha. Om Shukraya Namaha. Om Shukraya Namaha. We pause for a moment and reflect on Vrishabha or Taurus, a grounded and luxury-loving sign, today containing Mars, a planet that helps us to want to be a winner, to be victorious, and also a planet that has energies of both the warrior and the healer. We pause for a moment and reflect on this. The next Rasi or sign with the planet in it is Karkata or Cancer, which today contains Venus and the sun. We honor Venus, and I put the flower petals on him. Om Shukraya Namaha. Om Shukraya Namaha. Om Shukraya Namaha. Venus is in a star called Pushya, the most spiritually auspicious of all the stars. We honor this star, and I put the flower petals on top of Venus. Om Pushyaye Namaha. Om Pushyaye Namaha. Om Pushyaye Namaha. Pushya's star is ruled by Brihaspati, a form of Jupiter in which he is a high spiritual teacher. He's so high that sometimes he's even teaching other archetypes as well. We honor Brihaspati, and I put the flower petals on top of Venus. Om Brihaspataye Namaha. Om Brihaspataye Namaha. Om Brihaspataye Namaha. Pushya's star is ruled by Saturn. We honor Saturn, and I put the flower petals on him. Om Sanisharaya Namaha. Om Sanisharaya Namaha. Om Sanisharaya Namaha. Now we honor the sun, and I put the flower petals on top of him. Om, excuse me. Om Suryaya Namaha. Om Suryaya Namaha. Om Suryaya Namaha. The sun is in a star called Aslesha, a star of mystical power. We honor this star, and I put the flower petals on top of the sun. Om Asleshaye Namaha. Om Asleshaye Namaha. Om Asleshaye Namaha. Aslesha's star is ruled by the Nagas, ancient archetypes who have great wisdom and know secrets about cycles of time. We honor them, and I put the flower petals on the sun. Om Nagasye Namaha. Om Nagasye Namaha. Om Nagasye Namaha. Aslesha's star is ruled by Mercury. We honor Mercury, and I put the flower petals on him. Om Buddhaya Namaha. Om Buddhaya Namaha. Om Buddhaya Namaha. Now we honor the planet that rules Cancer, which is the moon. I put the flower petals on the moon. Om Chandraya Namaha. Om Chandraya Namaha. Om Chandraya Namaha. We pause for a moment and reflect on Karkata, or Cancer, the most emotionally sensitive of all the zodiac signs, today containing Venus, a planet of happiness, diplomacy, love for material plane comforts and the arts, and the sun, which is our soul and also a planet so important for our health. We pause for a moment and reflect on this. The next Rasi sign with a planet in it is Simha, or Leo, which today contains Mercury. We honor Mercury, and I put flower petals on him. Om Buddhaya Namaha. Om Buddhaya Namaha. Om Buddhaya Namaha. Mercury is in a star called Purva Phalguni, one of the relationship stars, and also a star of rest and relaxation. We honor this star, and I put the flower petals on top of Mercury. Om Purva Phalgunaye Namaha. Om Purva Phalgunaye Namaha. Om Purva Phalgunaye Namaha. Mercury, Purva Phalguni star is ruled by Bhagya, an archetype of good fortune. We honor Bhagya, and I put the flower petals on top of Mercury. Om Bhagyaye Namaha. Om Bhagyaye Namaha. Om Bhagyaye Namaha. Purva Phalguni star is ruled by Venus. We honor Venus, and I put the flower petals on him. Om Shukraya Namaha. Om Shukraya Namaha. Om Shukraya Namaha. Now we honor the planet that rules Leo, which is the sun. I put the flower petals on the sun. Om Suryaya Namaha. Om Suryaya Namaha. Om Suryaya Namaha. We pause for a moment and reflect on Simha or Leo, a sign of power and leadership, today containing Mercury, planet of communication, business development, and also a planet that helps us with managing all the details in our daily life. We pause for a moment and reflect on this. Now, I take the lit tea light and holding it above the blackboard, I'm going to pass it above the flower petals and the chart 3 times in a clockwise direction, offering the element of light to all the divine beings that we have just invoked. Next, I'm taking a little hand fan. Some of you could use a lit incense stick. I have a housemate who is sensitive to scent, so I'm just using a little hand fan. It's a rather pretty one. I think I got this in India many years ago. It's quite beautiful. I'm waving the little fan above the chart 3 times in a clockwise direction, offering the element of air and a cooling breeze. And now I take a bell to offer the element of sound, and I'll ring that around the chart 3 times in a clockwise direction. Now I make prayer hands, and I ask all of these divine beings that we have just invoked to bless all of us, to bless our families, our friends, our colleagues, our neighbors, our homes, our workplaces, our schools, our communities, our countries, and indeed the entire planet. May everyone on this planet have healthy food to eat, clean water to drink, clean air to breathe, a safe place to live, good clothes to wear, access to health care, good education, sustainable jobs, and may everyone on the planet have love in their life now and always. I pray for enlightened leaders, enlightened citizens, enlightened laws, enlightened countries, and entire enlightened civilizations. And I make a bow. You can continue to make your own prayers for a minute, and then I'll do short Q&A. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Peace to the body, peace to the mind, peace to the soul, peace to the environment. Peace, peace, peace. May we all go about our day or our evening in peace. Thank you all very much for being here. I appreciate your participation and your support. I see that Ranak has asked a question. Can you please explain how the position of the planets is shown within each Rasi box on the chart? I see some are in the top part of the box while others are in the bottom. Does it show degrees of the planet? The degrees are shown on the charts at club.astroved.com. And I've put the link in the chat for the chart that's actually the chart of today that we've been using. That's where you can see the degrees of the planet. The software that I'm using is Gorvani software. And so it does not show the degrees in the little map or the chart that we see on the screen, but it is shown on the page that I gave you the link for, because on that page I put both the chart and then below the chart I have the listing of the planets and the degree they're in and a star they're in, etc. So each little box goes from 0 degrees to 30 degrees, so you can figure out within there the ordering of the planets better than you can necessarily just by looking at the way the software put them in there. I try to do them in the order of the lower degree before the higher degree planet. For example, Pluto is at a lower degree than Saturn, so we did Pluto first and then Saturn. We're just going in a clockwise direction in the order that they're in. Someone is asking, when is the best time to make planetary puja? Evelyn, the best time to do a spiritual practice is the time when you're going to actually do it. It is traditional in India to do certain things in the morning because the day is fresh, your energy is fresh, and again, it brings in a nice energy into our entire day. However, and I mean, all the books, all the teachers will tell you morning is a good time to do meditation, etc. However, to be honest, when I started learning to meditate way back when I was in college many years ago, I couldn't stomach the idea of getting up even 5 minutes earlier in the morning to do anything. So I started my meditation practice back then in the evening, where I was just trying to do 5 minutes of meditation, and I found that very hard to sit still even for 5 minutes, but that's what I started with. Later in life, I got to where, yes, I could do it in the morning, and it becomes a pleasure to be up in the morning, etc. But I would say there's not a wrong time to do it, Evelyn. So whenever you want to do the puja, that's fine for you. Different parts of the world, the sun comes up at different times. For example, in Scotland right now, there's very long daylight during the summer. In India, in Chennai, the latitude, longitude it's at is rather stable. But other parts of the world, that can change even when the sunrise time is happening. So everybody has a different schedule. Some people work a night shift. You really have to be practical and honest with yourself about what works with your schedule, when you're actually willing to do it, and to not stress about your spiritual practice. The one energy you don't want to bring into your spiritual practice is stress. You want to feel happy about what you did. In fact, one of my meditation teachers used to say, if you stayed awake, it was a good meditation. And if you fell asleep, it was a noble effort. In other words, never judge a negative energy onto your spiritual practice. Don't bring a worry or a doubt into it. You're doing the best you can. And the divine certainly understands that. Okay, so I hope that helps you. I see Katie in the chat saying yesterday she saw the Earth in the middle, and then the moon and the sun came from the left and right to merge with the Earth as one. There are meditations that Dr. Pillai has taught with the moon and the sun merging. All of these energies are also inside of us, Katie. So as you're seeing these things, in your meditation, you're also experiencing the unification of those energies inside of you. This is a beautiful thing. Ingrid is sharing in the chat that her father passed August 14th at 4 a.m. in peace. I'm sorry, my condolences for your loss, Ingrid. What to do in Venice as a way to assist in his going? If you're familiar with the Tarpanum practice, Ingrid, that's a practice that you could do on your own. If you're not familiar with it, you can email me at valli@pillaicenter.com, and I can send you directions for that. His body is now in the refrigerator in the mortuary. Tuesday, you may see his body. Which time is the best? I would say for that, you may have to work with, the organizers of the mortuary. Venice is wrong. I don't know what that means, Ingrid. I would say follow whatever tradition, your father and your family are accustomed to, and do your best prayers. But I can send you the Tarpanum practice, which you can do independently of any other funeral arrangements that you're making. Again, the email address is Valli, VALLI, @pillaicenter.com. I don't have enough time to go into all the directions for that right now. Okay. But again, condolences on your loss, and I'm sure you are being a great comfort to the rest of your family during this time. It is helpful for us to do prayers for people when they pass. It does help them to go into higher planes of light, for sure. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Again, Ingrid, you can do this. Tarpanum can only be done during the daylight hours of whatever the location is you are in. So since he died at 4 a.m., that may not be a daylight time in your local area. So only do the Tarpanum during daylight time. It's more important to do it during daylight than it is to try to match to the death time hour for that person. Okay, it's very important. Only daylight time, meaning after the sun has come up and before the sun has gone down in your local area. That would be my directions. Today is August 15th, which in some traditions is a feast day of Mother Mary. It's a celebration of her light body going into heaven. And I will be doing a Mother Mary program later on the same channel at noon Pacific time and 3 p.m. in the afternoon Eastern time. And this is something that I'm very delighted to do today. I do it every Monday, but I'm really happy to be doing it on the feast day of the Assumption of Mary today. So Ingrid, could you please email me the rest of your questions in email? I won't have time right now, and I don't want to feel like I'm cutting you off, but I have to go ahead and close out our program for now. Those of you that can hit the like button, we very much appreciate that. And we also appreciate when people subscribe to the channel, as Dr. Pillai does want the channel to grow. You can inwardly express your gratitude, Ingrid, to the blessings from your father. Whether he was a good dad or a bad dad, he still was your dad, and he helped bring you into the earth plane. And for that, we give gratitude to parents. And at a soul level, the parents do love us, even if outwardly they are sometimes challenging. And the child does pick the parents, Dr. Pillai says. We pick the parents that we came into for whatever reason, that we wanted to receive certain lessons in this lifetime. Okay. Well, thank you all for being here. You didn't disturb the program. I just don't have time to go into more in-depth, Ingrid. I love you, appreciate you, and I just would prefer to finish off our conversation by email if you don't mind. Thank you for understanding. Okay. I need to go ahead right now and end our program for today. We'll be doing this Monday through Friday every week. Namaste.